No more jokes, I'm sorry. I'm going to bring out a man now who is a legendary radio disc jockey. He's one of the bright, shining stars on WFMU. And he's in class all by himself. 1 second. 1 second. His name is Irving Chusid. Irving Chusid, the one and only Irving.
I don't have to give a speech. I'm going to just moderate some Q&A with Drew. Do you have to tell a joke?
Yes.
This is a joke I taught to Andy Breckman. A guy goes to the doctor, and the doctor says, "You've got to stop masturbating." And the guy goes, "Why?" And the doctor says, "So I can examine you." Why don't you... It's the only joke I know. It's a good one.
Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. I have a joke too. Danny Thomas is so old, he now has prescription glass coffee tables.
Is there a masturbation angle there?
Always. Yes. So thanks for coming to this, and I apologize that Sid Melton didn't make it, Slappy White didn't make it. I know I promised. But at least we had James Taylor, not the annoying singer, but the great magazine editor and publisher. So I'm thrilled that everybody came, and I'm thrilled that Irwin is going to be doing the Q&A with us. And then, of course, Joe Franklin did the introduction.
You know that this man has not been introduced. Really, this man not only portrays, but he has enhanced the image of pop culture. He is Mr. Pop Culture. Let's hear it once for the fact that many times in his works, in his fantastic books, he satirized me, and then when a book would come out without satirizing me, I'd be upset. Because he was expressing his admiration, right, for me.
Of course. I only draw the ones I love.
Thank you.
This is what you were supposed to do.
No, I'm finished.
That's why Joe is.
Joe's
a master. Could we? I'd like to know who's looking at me right now. I can't really see your faces. Could you just mention who you are at least? I want to hear a few names. Very good. Anybody else? Ah, Liz. Okay.
Bob Greenberg.
There we go. Anybody else? Come on. I want to hear some names. Oh, great. All right.
How many people here are Drew's Facebook friends?
Yay!
How many people are members of Plonsky?
Yay! And how many people are currently stalking Drew?
And how many people are going to order...
The security perimeter has just been extended from 10 to 30 feet.
And how many people are going to order one of our fine art prints that Irwin and I put out together when they get home?
They're online at drewfriedman.net.
Okay, that's the last plug. And no websites will be mentioned.
This is Drew's new book, and it's a collection of 50?
50, yeah.
50 portraits. Can we talk about how this project came about?
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Parker.
Well, they were commissioned by a private collector named Mark. And
Mark.
Yeah. And
Mr. Mark.
Right. He's purchased my work over the years, so he said, "What would you like to do next?" And I said, "I've always wanted to draw Sideshow Freaks in full color, because most of the photos that exist are black and white. So I always wanted to bring them to life in full color. So that's just basically how it came together. There wasn't a book deal or a book contract, so that came later. So it was like a labor of love and a little bit of money thrown in. So that's how this came together.
And at some point, Laura Lindgren at Blast Books, who was originally going to design the book, or agreed to publish it, and of course design it.
Laura and Ken.
And Laura is here.
Yeah, the
and
publishers
so
are here.
Blast Books. Laura
Right, they're like huge freak show aficionados, so it was just a good fit for Blast Books to do it. So it took a year to do, and that's the result with a forward by Penn Jillette, and that's it.
And at some point, hopefully, we'll be issuing some fine art prints of some of the subjects in the book. We haven't yet decided which ones.
No, but we'll get to that.
So is it true that every one that you paint, every one that you render, embodies some facet of your inner self?
Oh, where'd you get that from? Where'd you get that from? No, it's like, I feel more that way about the Jewish comedians. I feel like, I'm sort of like a frustrated old Jewish comedian myself. I'm getting old, and I'm Jewish, and I'm not a comedian, but I flirted with becoming a comedian. So that was like more my inner self, the Jewish comedian thing. The freak thing was just something that, you know, it was always fascinated me since I was a little kid. You know.
There's two categories of your renderings. One is the people you're hired, commissioned to illustrate, usually for periodicals, newspapers, magazines, the web, etc. Then there's the ones that you personally want to do, not because anybody's asking you, but because you feel some compulsion to do it.
Right.
Is there any overlap?
Yeah, occasionally there could be overlap. Like occasionally I'll get a job that I really hate doing, but I'll get into it, you know, for some particular reason. Like I mentioned this before, but I was hired to do work for Field and Stream magazine a couple years ago. I'm a vegetarian. I'm anti-hunting. I'm Jewish. I have nothing. You know, Field and Stream is a hunting magazine.
But you own somebody good.
I took the assignment, but you know, and then I did the illustration, and I tried to make the hunters as stupid looking as possible, and the deer as heroic looking as possible. So that worked. I was very happy, and they never called me again. But, you know, I was very satisfied with the result. That was like a perfect ending. You know? So you never know. Like Field and Stream, like, but you know, it worked out.
Now, when you started out professionally, you were doing this technique called stippling. I know you don't like to bring it up.
I've always referred to it as dots.
It's what you became known for. And there's still some people who think you're still doing that. But there was a transition in the 90s.
It was a very subtle transition. You know, it was so subtle that I didn't even notice it. I just like phased it out little by little.
You're a painter now, though.
Yeah.
Admit it.
I paint, yeah. I paint the house, and yeah, that's what I do for a living. I paint. I love the brush. I'm addicted to the brush. You know, other artists in this room will identify with that. But I just love the brush. I'll never go back to the quill pen or the rapidograph. You know, that's just me.
We wanted to issue some prints of Drew's early work, and he absolutely forbid it. So I'm sorry, all that brilliant early work that all of you love so much.
I think now is the golden era. That was, you know, that's not the golden era. That wasn't even a silver era. You know. That was like a phase. That was the bronze era.
You've got a third volume of Old Jewish Comedians.
Right, a third volume's coming out in the fall. More Old Jewish Comedians. The final volume of the series, 3 in a series. It's the last one. I swear I'm done with the Jews.
Have you run out of Old Jewish
No,
Comedians?
the more and more, like, you know.
There's a new generation every few years.
Well, yeah, like younger ones.
Is Robin Williams Jewish?
No, thank goodness, no. But I wouldn't even, you know. I have a list, you know this. I have a list of people.
Can we discuss the list? There's people that Drew will never...
I don't want to badmouth anybody, but there's certain people that I will never, you know, include in this book.
Robin Williams, why?
Well, he's not Jewish, but, you know, I don't want to, you know, Adam Sandler, Ben Stiller. Oh, the Ben Stiller's dad is in it. I have a long list of old Jewish comedians, and then the younger Jewish comedians are becoming older, like David Steinberg is now in his 70s, and David Brenner, and Robert Klein. So that, you know, I have to get out of it because they get older, and then there's just new ones. Like, you know, it's like I'm like Michael Corleone gets sucked back in. So I have to quit. So this is the third and final volume, with the new young comedian on the cover named Stewie Stone. He's going to be the cover. Nobody knows who he is, which is good. That's what I want.
Do we want to maybe get some cues from the audience?
Want to take? Yeah, we'll do some questions. And we're going to go upstairs, and I'll sign books.
Is anyone curious about this man, or anyone?
Anything you wanted to ask me that you know, you always wanted to dress on Facebook, but you didn't want to like.
He will discuss his prize-winning.
You can be anonymous here.
Why do you like Joey Ross so much?
That's like, what kind of question is that? Of course, it's a stupid question. Can I have some serious questions here? No, I only want stupid questions. That's about the stupidest question I've ever heard. Why do I like Joey Ross so much? It's like so many reasons. Like, Joe, why is Joey Ross so wonderful?
I can only say on behalf of my own self that when I was satirized or cartooned by Mr. Friedman, and I was there alongside presidents and royalty and dignitaries, I was very honored, so I hope I'll be in the next book.
Well, I have a quote from you in the next book, but like I said, Joe, I only satirize the ones I love. You know, I don't waste my time with people I don't want to look at when I'm drawing, you know, because it takes a while to do this stuff. So I love you so much, and it was such, you know, I could hug you right now. Actually, I could go to bed with you right now. I love you so much.
Last night
Drew
was the best, right?
Drew owes Joe $40 million, by the way. Don't you?
Don't I come through for you guys? I promised Joe Franklin and Larry Storch and Irwin Chusid. You know, don't I come through for you?
How about a serious question? Nothing about Joey Ross.
Do you ever face like licensing issues, or is?
We don't pay attention to that. It's like, no, I don't worry about that stuff. Well, in what respect? Like usually with people, there's nothing to worry about. Usually.
Because it's broadly under satire?
Usually, yeah. With my work it is. So
You mean the periodical illustrations or the portraits?
Or even like you guys are
prints.
selling prints now of things.
We have a lawyer in the house.
We have a lawyer who actually taught me a lot about it, so I could tell Drew that it was safe for him to portray certain people in our catalog, and that had to do with something called the right of publicity, which is that if someone dies, they lose the right of publicity.
But this is
And
not
anybody can, if they're alive, they still have the right of publicity. But apparently, the legal precedent's been set that, especially in California and New York, if the person dies in one of those states.
You explained this to me, and I didn't pay attention the first time. So
You wanted a serious question?
But of all the portraits in our catalog, I think they're
No
all,
more serious
all
questions.
deceased with the exception of who's alive.
Jerry Lewis is alive, but we did a print, and Jerry Lewis loved it,
And we don't know about Judson Fountain. He may be alive. We can't track him down right now.
I'd love to hear an anecdote, if you have any outstanding, about Mo Howard or
Mo Howard.
or Larry Fine.
I never met either one of them. I met them.
You did.
No, I never met them. No. I met Emil Sitka, who was like, he was like the fifth stooge, right? He was like the Murray the K of the Stooges. Who have I met over the years? Carl Ballantyne. I can talk about Carl Ballantyne. Jerry's always good. Jerry's good because we have a guy in the house. Actually, I want to do a dueling Jerry because I think I do a good Jerry impression. And we have another young man in the house who does a great Jerry. But when I did my first, you've all probably heard this, but I'm going to tell it again. I don't care. When I did my first old Jewish comedian book, I was on my back because I had sprained my back. So Kathy, my wife, my secret weapon, was playing the phone messages for me of people calling and congratulating me. Phone call from Mickey Freeman, who loved it, Freddie Roman, Jerry Stiller, and Jerry calls. Hello, Drew, this is Jerry Lewis. Call me back. I said, oh, shit. I said, Jerry's mad. I said, what did I do? I said, I guess because I didn't put him on the cover, or because I outed his real name, maybe, Jerome. He always says his real name is Joseph. So I called him back. I had spoken to him before. We got along. He likes my work. And I said, Jerry, did you get the book? Yes, Drew, I got the book. I said, what'd you think of it? What'd I think of it? I loved it! Jesus Christ! All right, Sport Murphy, where are you?
Like and please, I couldn't possibly.
Very good. Dueling Jerry.
Was that Jerry or Sammy?
Sammy Petrillo? Is he in the house? No. Exciting news, there's going to be a book written about Sammy Petrillo that's coming out in the near future.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They're getting you to illustrate it?
I might do the cover.
This must be the only audience where you can just utter the name Sammy
Right,
Petrillo
and
and not have to explain who he is.
Oh, I know my audience. You don't have to explain Sammy Petrillo. Does anybody not know who Sammy Petrillo is? Joe knows who Sammy Petrillo is.
I had him on with Bela Lugosi.
Wasn't John Lennon on that show too? I remember that.
One fast one. One night, my guest, it was 1951, I was just a kid, I was on after Walter Winchell on Channel 7. My guest was Will Jordan. Remember the name Will Jordan?
Sure, Ed Sullivan. You might be in the third.
He should be. So anyhow, so he did his Ed Sullivan impersonation, and after the show, the phone rings. The security man says, it's Ed Sullivan on the phone. We started to tremble. He goes, here comes $1 billion lawsuit. He says, could I speak to Will Jordan? He says, Will, do me a favor, would you come on my show this Sunday night and do me? That was good. Jackie Mason picked it up, and so I've got my little bit of recognition too, that I got the first exposure.
Jackie Mason with the finger.
Yeah, that's right. So, the Ed Sullivan routine done by comedians was begun on the Joe Franklin Show.
Amazing.
Believe it or not.